So welcome everybody. Again, my name is Matt Mormon. I'm a senior national account manager here at TCI. I am a former middle school social studies teacher prior to coming to work for TCI. I'm getting ready to start my 18th year here at TCI. So I've been around for a while. Some of you may know me. Shout out to, I work with districts all over the country, but I have a lot of school districts in Michigan and Illinois. So shout out to my Illinois and Michigan peeps if you're on. And we're going to get started. Now, just a quick couple reminders about some housekeeping things. We are using the chat and the Q&A, and I just want to make sure everybody knows the difference between the two. So the chat is more of a way for you to just kind of talk to and communicate with the group as a whole. But if you have a question, something that you're wondering about or not knowing, we would ask that you would use the Q&A for that. We have moderators helping me today. They'll be monitoring that Q&A and hopefully getting your questions answered as quickly as possible. But for things like introducing yourself or responding to questions that I ask just for my participants, we're going to use the chat for that. So, and then I know Brian mentioned this in the opening welcome, but you are able to turn on that closed captioning if you would like that. So welcome everybody. Very, very happy that you are all here today. This is what we are going to be covering. So just want to make sure everybody kind of knows what we're going to talk about beforehand here. We're going to break this down into three categories. We have been up to a lot of work. The great thing, one of my favorite things about TCI is we really, really listen to the teachers and administrators and students who use our programs and our resources. So we're always collecting feedback and we're always trying to make improvements and changes. And as you know, if you've been around TCI for a long time, you know that every summer it's a little exciting because we do some of our biggest changes over the summer. So today we're going to look at really three areas where we have focused really making the navigation and planning of your lessons, more simpler for you. So we're going to simplify that navigation. So we're going to talk about some of the things that we've done to do that. We also have some new tools that will support your students in the reading, in the online reading tools. So we'll talk about some of the things that we've done there. And then a big hot topic button is assigning digital content to students for digital assignments and how to give that feedback, how to grade that. So more efficient and quicker, easier grading. So we'll be talking about that as well. So those are the three areas, and I'm going to stop after each one and allow you guys to ask some questions too. So if you have some questions as we're going through, you'll be able to do that. All right. So let's start with simpler navigation. We're going to talk about new home pages and new search bar that we have and some settings that we have in the videos. So let's go live. We're going to go live now. And to start, I'm just going to show you what your program might have looked like perhaps when you left school for the summer. Might have looked something like this. Now, it doesn't matter if you teach elementary or if you're science or high school. I just happen to be using a middle school world history program as my example today. But this is what the program kind of looked like for most of the year last year. You see on the side, the sidebar menu with all these different options, and then you see kind of these rectangles with all of your units. We have changed the layout, so that's the first thing we're going to look at is this new homepage. So when students and teachers log on, this is the new homepage that you're going to see. So first thing, just want to draw your eyes to just a couple things. Front and center for students when they log in now will be these new current assignments. So any assignments that they have due or coming up, they're going to see that right on their homepage, their landing page. For teachers, and I'm in a teacher account right now, you will see the student work. So anytime a student turns something in, you'll see that right here. We're going to drill in here and look at some work in a minute because we'll be grading some things. But I see that I have three things for this Unit 2, Lesson 6 lesson that needs to be reviewed. So three things have turned in. Now, where did the units go? So we had those units, we'll go back here real quick and you see, foundations, rise of civilization, ancient Egypt, ancient India. Where did that go? If I scroll down just a little more, I still see those. They're there. But my favorite part of this now is it used to be you had to drill down into the unit and drill down into a lesson and see. We have this new table of contents right here. I know the littlest things, right, can sometimes make our lives so much better. But if I click on that, you are going to see the table of contents right there with hyperlinks, and you will be able to drill down into any lesson that you want to see very quickly and get kind of the big picture, if you will, of the program. The other thing is that I want to show you, pull your attention to, is that purple sidebar. We've now got these shortcuts over here. So these icons represent probably the most important features on that purple navigation menu. You'll see like quick links to assignments, to getting to your grade book, to getting to our hands-on either science investigations or TCI lessons, and then obviously getting to the text, and then our games library. Now, not to worry if you're still wondering where a lot of the things were that were on that old, purple sidebar menu, you can open that up right here and everything is still there. But if it's taking up too much room on your screen and you want to collapse that, you can go ahead and hide that, and we just kind of have the quick links there. All right, now, one other cool thing about the new landing page, the navigation page that we're on right now for science and social studies, people have been asking for this for a long time, so I'm really excited to show you this. We now have a search tool. So let's say that you have a standard, something that you're supposed to teach, and you want to know where to find that really quickly. So you can see up here in the top right-hand corner, next to your name, next to the help center, next to the what's new, you'll see this little search bar will pop up, and you can type in a term. So let's say I want to search the term democracy, right? Just to see where I can see democracy being referenced in this program. Hit search, and oh, no matching results. Well, I know that's not true. I must have spelled something incorrectly because, oh, I didn't have an R in there. There we go. Oh, that's not right, because I know I'm spelling democracy wrong. There we go. I'm typing it wrong. I'll be better about that. But here it comes up. So you can see we will give you hyperlinks to wherever that term that you're searching for, so you can get to it right there. But then it'll also pull out some of the text and highlight. So this is a pretty general word. You're going to see democracy, obviously, in a social studies program, especially one that teaches about ancient Greece and Rome. You're going to see that word a lot. So you're going to see a lot of links to that. But that is the new search tool. So hopefully you guys will like that and find that really, really easy to use. We have another filter that you can also see, and that is in terms of like our videos and libraries. So let's say, for example, that you are going to be in our video library, and our video library is going to be down here in this area right over here. And you got the primary source library, you have maps, civics, biographies, games, videos, all of that. So let's go into the video library, and we have a new kind of filtering tool for you. So let's say you wanted to find some of these videos, by the way, are going to be from the video activities. Some of them are going to be built into the actual classroom activity, maybe in one of the slideshows, inquiry projects, something like that. But let's say you wanted to see, what videos are going to be in this Unit 2, The Rise of Civilization. So you can search there, and then you can find out from there, you can drill down and say, well, I only want to see the videos that are going to be part of the classroom activity. And then you can search from there, and it'll just kind of narrow your search down. You can use these videos on their own if you want to pull them outside of whatever it is the video is in their video activity, or maybe it's in the classroom activity slideshow. If you wanted to give one of those videos to the students because you wanted to watch that for some reason outside of the way that it's used in TCI, you can go ahead and publish that right there, and that will put that link to that video right in the student's side. So that is another kind of search or filter tool. We also have the settings page. Now, a lot of you are probably used to going to the settings by coming over to the purple sidebar, and you'll see right here in the top left-hand corner, you'll see the settings page. We've now moved that settings page, quick links to it. So let's say, for example, you're in the reading. Let's say you're reading something with your students. There is a little cogwheel in the top right-hand corner where you can get to your settings a lot quicker, but the settings for that specific topic. So when I click on the settings right here, it's going to pull up all of the settings that are related to reading features, like what Lexile level I can give my students, or are they going to have the Spanish or the English version? Will they be able to have the text to speech turned on for them? Are you going to allow them to see the main idea highlighting? Those are things that typically were buried in the main settings that you had to go search for. Now it's right here at the point of use. And of course, you can change those Lexile levels or edit per individual student if you want one student to have one Lexile level and another student to have another. So that will be there. Let's try something else again with the settings. Let's go into let's go into like a lesson overview page, and we'll drill down into an activity here. Whoops, not the activity. I want to go into maybe let's look at investigating primary resources in here, and you'll see a settings page for that as well. So those settings, the cogwheel kind of follows you around and goes wherever you need it. All right. Then finally, when you are planning, so I'm going to go into a lesson overview for planning purposes here. This is our planning area. And you've always been able to see this online. You know, you can see what materials you need to print out, any step-by-step procedures, prep, how you're going to set a science investigation or a social studies activity up. You got your differentiation and your pacing options. But now, and again, just something very simple, you can print all of that planning information out so that you can have it right there at your desk. You can sticky note it, mark it up, highlight it, you know, write yourself a note. It's all right there. So those are some of the big changes on simpler navigation. Now I'm going to open it up in the chat, and I think Morris has been monitoring the Q&A. Any questions coming through, Morris, in Q&A that I should address right now live about these new features for simpler navigation and simpler planning?
Yeah, there's one question that just came in about the publish feature. I believe it was related to the video library. The
Yep.
question is, if you publish a video, would it be available outside of TCI, or would someone need to sign into TCI in order to see it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when you publish the video, it still stays within TCI, but it takes it without, it takes it to the students so they don't have to get it in like a video activity. So let's say I'm looking at, you know, like something from a video activity for this lesson, and I'm going to find some videos here. These are videos that are going to be actually used in a video activity slideshow. Publishing it just takes it out of that. Well, it keeps it in there, but it removes a copy of that video out of that classroom activity, and it gives it to the students in their platform so they can just get to it as a standalone resource. But you would still, for proprietary reasons, need to still have a TCI login to get to that. Now, you can put things, hyperlinks, obviously, in your learning management systems, your, you know, Google Classroom, Canvas, Schoology, those kinds of things. Those links would still work, and they would open up those videos, but only as long as the students are signed into their TCI account. So great question. Up next question. Any other questions?
Yeah, let's see here. Can you set the reading level for individual students rather than for all?
Yep, absolutely. And again, when we go into the reading, that's why it's really nice to have that quick link to that settings page so you don't have to go searching for it. So I'm just going to click that link in reading. And right here, you'll see at the top with that reading level, edit per individual student. That will take me to my classes. So I just happen to have only 2 classes set up here in my account. Under the actions, you can see where you can manage your students. Okay. And I have a list of all the students here in my first hour class. And right now, they all have reading level A and reading level B set up for them. But if I wanted to say student 2 could only have, let's say, one of those reading levels, I'm just going to edit that student and then go in and turn off one of the reading levels that I don't want them to have. Go ahead and update that student, and then that student only has access to the B level. And it would work vice versa. So great question. Any other questions before we go on to the exciting next topic?
Yeah, let's do one more question, and then some of these questions might be answered later. So,
Sure.
the last
Yeah, I saw
question,
somebody asked a grading question. I'm going to talk about grading in just a minute. So we'll hold
yeah.
off
So
on that.
let's talk about the whether or not the settings that you changed need to be updated per unit and lesson, or if it'll apply for all of them.
Oh, that's a great question. It applies for all of them. So, and you can change them back at any time you want. So if you go in and change that setting like I just did, so that student 2 right now only has access to reading level B, for example, that's going to be program wide. So now if you're an elementary teacher and you teach fifth grade science and fifth grade social studies, and you change that change in the social studies program, it doesn't mean it makes that change for the science program, but it does change it for all units, all lessons. And then obviously, and that's true with anything in the settings, by the way. So like in the settings, you can decide if students take open book tests or not. You can decide if they see their results right away after they take an assessment, they get their answers right there. There's, obviously reasons why you might not want to do that. Lunchtime, Snapchat, right? These kids today. All of any change that you make in the settings and update, it sticks until you make the change again to something different. So awesome. What do you think, Morris? Any other pressing questions?
I think we have a few more, but let's move forward and then we'll
Real quick, I just saw
on the next
Amber's
one.
question. Will it still read? Yes, it still reads. So if you change the reading level, like let's say you lower it down 30% Lexile lower, it will still read to them, Amber. So yes.
Nice.
Yep. All right, and we can work on answering some of those questions behind the scenes too for some of the people. So let's go now. I'm gonna kind of go back to home here, and I'm gonna go back into the next feature that I want to talk about, which is the new tools to support reading. So we've got some really cool things that we've done here with tools that will support your readers. So we'll go into the program now, and I am going to show you one really cool thing in the readings. Let's just go to we're going to use the new quick link to get into the reading. So here is my text for this lesson on ancient Sumer. And as I scroll down, so you see the text, those of you familiar with TCI, both science and social studies, there's text, and then there's usually something that we call like reading notes or investigative notes. It matches, it's the online version of whatever is the digital science or social studies interactive student notebook. And that's usually at the bottom down here. So you can see my notes. So this is a preview. That's what we call in social studies, the anticipatory set. We call observing the phenomena in science, excuse me. But here's that prompt. But before that prompt, there was something called a reading check. Now, these are automatically graded. So you'll see the sections have these. So after the students read this short section here, there's a little check. And of course, they can have that read to them. There's the play button right there. And then they can select whichever one they think is the best answer. If they don't get it correct on the first attempt, then they will get one more attempt and submit. And if they get it wrong, they get it wrong. If they get it right, they get half a point. Let's go look at another one. I'm just going to go to the next section here. And you will see on my next section here, there is the text. And then here is another reading check. And then there's the interactive notebook. And sometimes these reading checks, they're different, right? Like this one's a drag and drop one, this reading check. So the first two I showed were just kind of like multiple choice. But here's one where we're reading about stable food supply in ancient Sumer. And the reading check has the students, which of the following allowed Sumerians to create more of a stable food supply? And they just have to drag the correct responses, however many of them they think there are, over. And then I will hit submit. And looks like I got 2 correct. But that gives me an opportunity to change it. And I can kind of come back here and put this over here, move this one over. And again, I got that one wrong. So now I've just got partial points on that. But those are all auto-graded. And the answers and the answer keys and how they did and all of that stuff will show up in your gradebook. If you assign this to your students, it will automatically create an assignment for them. And you'll be able to do that, which leads me into the next thing I want to talk about, which is this new flexible reading assignments. So let's go to the assignment page. I'm going to go to this assignment page right over here. And just so you know, you can assign things from up here as well. But I'm going to go to my assignments page. And you can see all the assignments that I've already created. But I'm going to create a new assignment here. So I'm going to go ahead and click Create New. And, we're going to pick what unit or lesson. So let's say we're going to, do something from Unit 7 or Lesson 7. So what are we assigning? The assessments, games, biographies. That's something I'll be talking about in a minute. Reading, classroom activity. If you're assigning the classroom activity, that means you're assigning the slideshow with your students, or a slideshow that you modified, because you can modify our slideshows, or the video activity. In this case, the reading is where you have a lot of choice. So I'm going to go ahead and assign the reading. Now, One of the things that we added is this new area right here. It used to be, you could select the whole lesson, or you could just say, I want to assign section 1 or section 2 and section 1 together. But what's really cool about this is this new, it says view all details. Pay close attention to this when you're assigning digital content to your students. When you click on that, it will give you some choice. So instead of having to assign everything, you can decide, well, for the introduction, I want my students to read the text for the introduction. That could be one assignment, but then you can pair with it doing the reading check and the reading notes and make it one big assignment. Or you could say, for this, we're just going to assign the reading check only. Okay, so we'll go over here. We'll make this due next week. Optional information, hit assign. And so when that happens, the students will see that reading check assignment in their assignments, and they go to it, and it opens right up and it takes them to that. And you can see I kind of already did this one already, so I would have to restart that one to start it because I was in teacher mode, but it takes them right to that. So you have a lot more choice now with assignments, with those flexible reading assignments. I go in and I'll just model this again. I'm just going to do a different lesson here. Reading one more time. You click view all details, and then you can kind of pick and choose if there's any explore articles, reading notes, reading checks that they want to use there. Another cool thing that I kind of briefly talked about just a minute ago is I was talking about assigning biographies. So again, I'm going to open up the purple sidebar now so we can go back down to that reference area where you saw the video library. There's a biography section there now. Okay, now this isn't brand new. We've had the biographies for a little while. Some of the biographies have some videos that go with them. Some have just reading, but they all have some writing prompts, some kind of reflection, some type of, short writing assignment the students have to do. So now you can assign those as well. So you'll see right here, Abigail Adams, and there's a video that goes with this biography. So this is supplemental. This is not something that's tied to any one specific, lesson or unit. But now I can assign, I'm going to go ahead and create that assignment. It's already filled out for me when I click that calendar button next to the biography. So it already knows that it's lesson 1 that I'm putting it in. Biographies, Abigail Adams. All I have to do is give it a due date and assign it, and my students will see that biography that they're supposed to go to complete to do that. So yeah. And then finally, for this section, and then we're going to open it up to the more questions again for a minute. We will go into our vocabulary cards, excuse me. So vocabulary cards are something that many of you maybe have had your students use to study from. Artisan, we can flip the card. It's a craft person. Go to the next card, and there's little definitions. But one of the things that we have done is we have allowed you now in the vocabulary cards to customize these vocabulary cards and assign them out to your students. So what do I mean by customize? Well, if I hover right over here, I can edit the vocabulary cards. So I'm going to go ahead and edit those vocabulary cards. The vocabulary cards that TCI has created are all right here. If I need to change the definition, I can do that. If I want to add a non-linguistic representation, right here, add an image, I can put that in. Or down here, I can add my own new term. So if there's a new vocabulary term, some type of academic word that we're studying or learning about that TCI didn't include, that I want to make sure my students know and are studying and are learning, I can go ahead and add that term. I can put whatever the term is, add a definition, and I can even add an image that goes with that. So for example, right here, let's say I'm going to go in civilization. I just want to show you how you add that. Go to choose file, and then, well, that's a different picture. I thought I had a picture of a civilization. I don't, I just have my office background in here, but you would be able to click that and hit save, and it would save that image to your vocabulary card. So the students would have that non-linguistic kind of image representation there to help them memorize that or remember what that word is. All right. So new tools to support reading. What questions do you have about that? What do you think, Morris? Are there some good questions coming in?
Yeah, I mean, some of the questions, I think you spurred some inspiration here. So not directly related to the reading, but You were talking about the biographies for social studies as assignments. There's a question about whether there's anything like that for science.
Yes, there should be their vocabulary cards for science. If Morris, right? I
Oh,
like
I meant for I think they're referring to the biographies. And
Yes, there are the science biographies, and the science biographies are going to be filled with famous scientists, engineers. Some of them are from our past. Some of them, like Isaac Newton, for example. Some of them are Neil deGrasse Tyson from modern day astrophysicists. So lots of career profiles and things like that. So you will see the biographies in the science program as well.
nice. Let's see here. There's also, do the vocabulary cards have any other languages or options?
If it just Spanish and English, so when you switch and toggle everything over to Spanish, everything changes, but you would have to use like a Chrome extension or something if you needed it changed to a different language other than English or Spanish, which is pretty easy to do with those Chrome extensions.
Let's see here. Mm, do you need to have your own pictures downloaded or in order to add them, or is there a way to use images from TCI?
I believe you have to use your pictures downloaded. There are things in the program that when you go in and add an image, it will, like in our assessments, in our slideshows for the science investigations or the classroom activities, there's a spot where you can choose like if it's a TCI image or if it's your own image. But on the vocabulary cards right now, it's just a file that you have saved. So if you wanted to use a TCI picture or image, you would have to save it to your hard drive or whatever, and then now you can put it in there. But the guy that can make that happen for you is the guy that's listening right now. So Morris, take notes, maybe adding a little button right here to add TCI images in there. Not a bad idea. And why I'm talking about that, I just want to plug this one last thing up here. Up here, there's a little question mark next to your name in any science or social studies TCI program, and the word support shows up as soon as you hover over that. If you click on that, you will see that you have three choices: help, feedback, and professional development. Help will take you to our help center or get you in touch with the customer support representative. Professional development will take you to those online module courses. But feedback is going to allow you to share an idea or wish list right here with us. And our software engineers, they take this very seriously. They read these and they come up with a roadmap for each new school year of what they want to prioritize and work on. And all of the things that you're seeing today, everything that you're seeing today is a result of the feedback that teachers have given us. So please, if this is Morris wants to keep working for TCI for a long time. The work is never done. This isn't like we're just going to sit back and admire our work. We are going to be doing this again this year and next year and the year after that, and always continuing to build these programs up and make them as user friendly and efficient for you as we can. So please do share that feedback. Any other pressing questions, Morris, before we head into the next topic?
Let's head into the next topic. I'll mention once again that if you for us to make sure we can get to your questions, please use the Q&A. If you put in the chat, we might miss it. So yeah, definitely. If you already put a question in chat that's not answered, put in the Q&A and we'll get to it by the end of the session. Thanks.
Yep. All right. So this is going to be one that's really, really exciting because especially for elementary teachers, being able to assign slideshow groups is going to be huge. So elementary teachers, hang on, I'm about to show you something really cool. And then of course we're going to talk about grading right now. So we're going to go live again, and I'm going to go into the actual program. So we'll go back here to the home area, and I'm going to close down some extra tabs that I don't need open right now. All right. So looking at the slideshow. So again, if I were to go into a lesson, so let's say I go into this lesson right here, and I can see my flexible lesson options, and I want to see the slideshow. Now I'm just going to open up the slideshow really quickly so that you can see that it's kind of broken into different parts of our pedagogy. In science, you'll see things like, looking at the natural phenomena that's being introduced, and you'll see the investigation. You might see some extensions. You might see a processing assignment that we call making sense of phenomena. In social studies, it's very similar. We just use some different words like preview and processing. But it kind of breaks down the part, but there's 37 slides here. And in elementary, if you want your students to not be in the print journal, but you want them to actually respond to some of your prompts, like this one right here, this preview, it says, scientists sometimes describe a civilization as highly developed. Explain what you think that means. Now, your students could do that on paper pencil with their journals, with their TCI journals. But if you wanted them to be able to come in here and write right in here, you would need to assign this slideshow to your students. And a lot of teachers, and rightly so, don't want to assign all 37 slides because there's things that you might not want your students to see. There might be, let's skip ahead to the activity here. There might be things in the activity, the social studies skill builder, where kids are going to get up and move around and I'll look at different placards and different primary sources or whatever. You might not want the students to have access to that. You might want them to just see a couple slides. So now what you can do when you create an assignment, you can actually write from the point of use. You can create that assignment right here, and it's all going to be checked off to start for you. Everything's going to be filled out, but you could just say, okay, nope, I only want to assign the preview slides only to my students because that's what we're going to be working on in class today. So we go ahead and give a due date on that, hit assign, and just to show you, now if I open that as a teacher, so that's going to go into my assignment. So very quickly, let's just go into the assignments and make sure that that's there. So there it is, classroom activity. We're going to open it up, okay? And it should just be the slides that are only associated with the classroom activity. So you don't see all those other bullets here, and students can open this up. They can do exactly what you're telling them to do, get any other background information, anything that they're supposed to read. But when the preview is over, they're done. They don't have access to anything else. So on the teacher side, when you do something like that and you go to then teach with that resource, okay, it knows that you just only assign that one thing. So you've kind of temporarily, just for a split second, lost all the other slides, but you really haven't. Up here, it says assignment. You can do the drop down and you can go to the classroom activity. And as a teacher, you should be, oh, sorry, I got to hit the none. You should be able to get, yep, there we go, none, all of your stuff back. So you get all the different things. Then if you go to that drop down, you go to the classroom activity that you assigned, you will just see what you assigned. So there's a little toggle to go in for that. So that's really exciting. And this is not a new feature, but while I'm here, I feel like I should just let you guys know, please remember that you can edit these slideshows. You can go in, edit, you could give it a name. I'm just going to call it demo for today's purposes. And I'm going to hit the demo. It's going to take a minute. This will open this up into an edit mode where I am able to, add my own notes. So I can type different information right on here, or I can, add a hyperlink in. So I can put a link to a web page that I want to show. I can do the same thing with video. I can add video. I can add images. Whoever asked that question earlier about adding an image from TCI, this is what it looks like on this side. So notice how you can add a new image or an existing image from TCI. You can even add, Spanish ones and stuff in here. So you have a little bit more choice. So that's why it's probably doable for the future. We just want to kind of test that new feature out in the vocabulary cards and see how you guys are using it and see if it's something that we think is worth developing a little more. So just to remind you guys that you can edit those slideshows. And if you ever do edit a slideshow, whoops, got to go back here to my, lost my sign in, but I can get it back very quickly. There we go. You can go in and in the slideshow. So let me go back here to the lesson overview and open up the slideshow here. You'll find right here under my slideshows where any of the things that you've created, they live there. Now I've created these months ago. It's just kind of screwing around. You can see demo, Matt's demo, made up stuff. They are there. And then if you ever want to get back to the TCI content, you can get back to the TCI content. All right, now we're getting ready to close to wrap up here, but there's another new feature that I want to share with you guys, and that is grading. Now, so let's go back to our home page here. Here's our home page, and you remember, oh, and by the way, we've added this little create assignment thing right up here in the top right-hand corner. That's just a quicker way to get to the same assignments page that would have been over here on the left. So it's on the right, it's on the left. You can't miss it now. Same thing with student work in the grade book. So I can go into my grade book right here on the left. There's a quick link to my grade book, but then it says some things need to be reviewed. So I can click here in the student work and get right to my grade book there as well. So it takes me to my grade book, and I've got some things assigned for students. You can see that I've assigned those reading checks. So students are working through that. I've got a couple assignments here. I'm going to show you right here, this one. It looks like I have a couple students who turned in section 2. It looks like everybody turned in the section 1. And a couple students, it doesn't look like they've turned in section 2. But we'll drill down into one of these and see some of these new, faster, quicker, efficient grading options. So I'm going to drill in. We'll go in, and I can see this first student. This is student 1 in my classroom, and they were supposed to complete this flow chart with these inventions that made a stable food supply happen for ancient Sumer, what they did. And this particular student wrote that the system of canals and reservoirs allowed regular water to crops, and the plow helped prepare the soil, blah, blah. That's a great answer, okay? So I don't have to necessarily grade for accuracy now for that. I have this new credit, no credit option here. So I could simply just click, you did it, and give the credit. And then if I wanted to tweak it a little bit, they automatically got 6 points out of 6. If I needed to change it and say, okay, really it's a 5 out of 6, I can do that. Now, for another really cool, fast trick that you can do with all of this, is so I can go right down the list, is I can switch. I'm grading by student right now. So by student, I'm seeing all of the writing prompts for that one student. Now, only the one that I clicked on that was assigned is open. There are others like section 4 on government, section 3 on social structure. I haven't assigned those yet, but I could drill down here and see, of course, student 1 has not answered that question yet. And that's not a surprise because I haven't assigned it. But if I wanted to compare every single kid in the class, look at all of their questions to this, or answers, excuse me, to this prompt at one time, I can do that by switching my view from student to question view. So right now I'm doing student view, and I'm seeing just everything from student 1. And if I wanted to see everything from student 2, I would just click this next button and it would take me to student 2. But instead, what I'm going to do is right up here under view by, I'm going to change by question, and it's going to show me everybody in my class in that class period. It's going to show. And I can go down and very quickly be like, you know, credit, no credit, credit, no credit. And that's pretty easy. That's pretty easy. That way, but another cool thing that I can do is this new feature right here called bulk grading. Now I'm going to click bulk grading, and it gives me a couple choices here. Select the student's work you want to grade. I want to grade all of the unanswered questions. I know that if you didn't do the assignment, you're getting a 0 from me, okay? So I'm going to click unanswered, and I should be able to click unanswered. I don't know why I can't do that for some reason. Well, I'll click the answered questions, and answered questions, I'm going to give 6 points automatically. So if anybody did that, answered that 6 points, I'm going to click bulk grade, and oh, it's got to be between 2. Sorry, I'm giving them 2 points. My bad. I was giving them too many points. And there it is. And I've now automatically just graded everybody's. Now, if I want to go through and grade for credit, so like down here, means they have good technology. Okay, that's cool. That's cute. But I'm going to go and maybe I'm going to say 1 point for that. So it's going to speed up the process. It's going to make it a little bit quicker. Let's go to another. I'm going to go back to grades real quick, and I'm going to go to another assignment here. Go to this one because I've already just graded that one, and I'm going to try that bulk grading again because I think the reason it didn't let me choose anyone that didn't do it is because everybody did it. This particular assignment, I know not everybody's done it, so I'm going to go ahead and do bulk grading on that one. So let's go question and bulk grade and unanswered. Well, it's not letting me do that this time either. So Morris, what am I doing wrong?
Someone in the chat actually got it. It's because you don't have any unanswered questions.
Right, but I do. If I go back to grades, I'm in this one right here. I'm trying to be in this one, and there's 2 unanswered ones. So that's why. but
You-
oh, it's not taking me to the right thing. I see. That's weird. It's taking me back to the preview. So I would want to go to,
You're looking at the
there we go. I
you're
want this
looking
one.
at one student right now.
Yep.
And then
My
if you go to the
question.
question, it depends on which question you're looking at. You're looking at a
Oh, and I
question.
didn't change my question. You're right. So I would need to go up one question, which now I have done. Go up two questions because it's the second one. Here is the one. Now I can go bulk grading and go unanswered, and I can give all of the unanswered students a 0 and bulk grade that way. I just got bounced out and didn't realize I got bounced out. So excellent. Thank you, folks, for helping me with that one. So yeah. And then the last little cool thing that I want to show you now is in the print assessments. So if you go into your assessment tools, so we're going to go down here to the actual classroom lesson overview, and you go down to assessments, there's this new area now where you will be able to print your student scores off for assessment. So if a student does an assessment, you are going to be able to print that off. And so I think I would probably have to have an assessment done to show you that. So let me do a real quick, a copy of this really quickly and edit this, and I'll show you how this works real fast. We'll just copy this and we'll just publish one assessment. So let's go edit, and I am going to make like maybe one question and show you. But you know, when you do your assessment, while we're waiting for this, what happens is the students, you can either push their results out to them later, or you can allow them to see their results like right away. And if they see the results right away, though, sometimes, you know, it's just on the screen. So there's now a way for you to print that off. So if you want to hand the student a paper that shows them like a score or whatever. So I am going to, I'm just going to delete a bunch of questions in here. Actually, why don't I do this? Yeah, I'll just delete the bottom ones to make it faster, and we'll do this really quick. Since we have a couple minutes, don't we, Morris? 5 minutes?
Yeah, we're gonna end at 10:10.
Yep. Good. Perfect amount of time. Okay, done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign this assessment to my students. And I'm just going to assign it to my first period only. Okay. And I'm going to go to my classes now. So I'll go in here to, I'm going to expand this right here and go into my classes. And I'm going to sign in. I don't know if you guys knew this, but you can actually sign in as a student. So I'm going to manage my students here. And there's a little key next to each student. So I can actually sign in as that student. And I should see my assessment here. So I'm going to go into my assessment, and I'm just going to very quickly take this assessment, and I'm not even trying to get anything right. So no judgment here while I do this very quickly on this test. I think there's only like 13 or 14 questions. Maybe more than that. Maybe I'll get some right. And I'm just going to put blah, 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 turn in. Okay. All right. So now I have it disabled. So this is something good for you guys to see. If a student doesn't have the settings turned on, the settings function for them that allows them to see their score. Now, I'm a middle school teacher, so you can imagine why I would have this set up. You know, I don't want my 5th hour scores to be way better than my 1st hour scores after everybody gives the answers to each other at lunchtime. So I have it disabled where it says your teacher has disabled your viewing questions. But now the teacher can go and print that assessment off for that student. So you should be able to go into the grade book. And Morris, you know, you correct me if I'm wrong here. And I should be able to see the assessment, which is turned in for a particular student, go in there and see that. And I have to grade the short answer one. So it's graded everything for me, but I have to go in here and give them credit very quickly on the short answer. I can post the score for the student. And then right here, I can print the student work off. So now I didn't share that. I didn't want my students to see the scores because they were going to go to lunch, they were going to cheat, blah, blah, blah. But then later I can print that off. And then the next day I can have a little sheet of paper that I can give for each of my students so they can see how they did on their assessment. All right. So that takes us through. We have pretty much gone through and looked at all of these new exciting features. Are there any questions, Morris, that we have not addressed that we should address before we break and go to our, I believe it's second period of the conference.
Yeah. So there's one about is related to something you just showed actually. When the student submitted and they couldn't see the answers,
Yep.
there's a setting for that,
Yes.
for a teacher setting. And I wanted to clarify that um, there is no way for students to see just their answers and scores without seeing the correct answer after submitting. And product is we're working on that. So just want to address that.
Yep.
In terms of other questions, there's one that might be around PD, but does TCI have a short video or slides that I can use to explain the curriculum at our curriculum night?
Yeah, we have a lot of things that you can explain on curriculum night. The first thing you might want to try is we have it's Teach TCI YouTube. So there's a lot of really good things there. In professional development, you could pick and choose the navigate and plan. There's like an open welcome video from Brian Thomas. That kind of talks about why TCI is so great. It's got some students in action. You could use part of that. Another resource that would be great at curriculum night too is if you go into our little support area over here, you'll see TCI's approach to learning, and you can drill into there. And then there's some information on the elements of a TCI lesson and our pedagogy and our, in science, it's going to be more geared towards NCS or NGSS. But in social studies, it'll be geared towards what we call the TCI approach. And then there's even some parent letters and letters for parents and stuff that you can print off if you want. But that's where I would start. I would start by looking at the PD videos, and then our YouTube channel has amazing stuff on there. It's Teach TCI on YouTube.
All right. And then we got 3 questions that are the same question, so we can answer all at the same time. Does the print for assessment just show them the score or the questions with answers too?
Oh, yeah. Let's look at that. While
I have one open on my side, so I can answer it quickly.
Yeah.
It has the score and it also has the answer key. So and what the student submitted. So it has everything in the print right now.
So this is what it would kind of look like. I just printed it off, so it's on my screen. And so you can see where they didn't do one. I missed one, actually. And then you can see the correct answer and the right answer there. So yeah.
And let's see, we have some other questions, but do you want to actually wrap up since we're at the end of time? And then if people want to stick around, we could answer those in between the sessions. Or I can answer those.
Yep. Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We are going to be breaking now. You're going to go back out into the lobby. And so I have my right here. We'll show you, just plugging again our newsletter in-app PD. You're going to learn more about. You take that QR code, and you'll be seeing this QR code again at the end of each session. So if you don't get a chance to grab that, but what you're going to want to do is, and make sure, by the way, our hashtag TCI Summit 24. If you're on Twitter or X, Facebook, all that stuff, use that hashtag and share a favorite thing that you learned today at any of our sessions. You can be in the drawing for a gift card. And then just real quick in the reflection, if you want to just throw a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into the chat just to show how you are feeling, show me how you're feeling about what you learned in my session, that would be great. Wonderful. Awesome. Thank you. You guys were great. And what's next? If you come up, period 2 is going to start in about 5 minutes. You get a 5-minute break and head out to the lobby, and then you'll go back and choose your next session. So thank you, everybody.